Guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video we're gonna actually just round up the products that really surprised me in 2020. I'm gonna try to go quickly because it's a lot of products, more than I actually thought it was gonna be. I'm gonna go ahead and just include palettes at the end if you're interested in just continuing to watch till the end. I hope you do. I hope you guys find the time to hit the like button, subscribe down below to my channel. So yeah, just hope you guys can find the time to join. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know how you feel about these products and if you like them yourself. So we're gonna go ahead and just get started with face products, I think. So we're gonna start talking about primers, and I only have one primer that really surprised me this year, and that's the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I'm really happy that I found this. I do use it a lot. I love how it feels on my skin. I love how it makes my pores look canceled out. It makes my pores look smaller. It smooths out my skin. It doesn't emphasize texture. It's just a really good affordable primer from e.l.f. and I'm really happy that I found it this year. So that's a really good one. Another primer-esque that I really kind of fell back into love with because I kind of started using it, then I didn't really like it as much as I use it again. This is the Eye Elements primer. It's an eye primer from Revolution Pro. I have the shade Core. These are kind of like dupes for the soft ochre paint pots from MAC. I think this is more of a drier formulation, to be honest. It is really good. I use it like almost every day for my eyes. Today I didn't use it. I used the Natasha Denona eyeshadow base, but I have been enjoying this. This is my second container of this primer, so that will just tell you that I do really enjoy it, and it does take a little bit of a while to go to or get through. To be honest, I'm almost done with this one. It has quite a bit still left to go, but I really enjoy it. So those are the primers. Foundations, I have a couple. The first one that really stood out to me and I was surprised. This is the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Tinted Moisturizer. Tinted moisturizer. It's not a foundation, it's a tinted moisturizer. I have the shade Light 8N. I am a light to medium complexion. This is like an everyday, easy to go to, just quickly cover. It doesn't cover a whole lot. It's not high coverage, but it just gives you like a quick little cover. It's really nice. As the name says, it's a tinted moisturizer. It's not going to be a foundation. If you really like coverage, I think this is the one to go to. I was really surprised by this product, and I was more of a high coverage person, so I was surprised that I really enjoyed it, and I'm starting to realize it now that I really like a lot of light, easy to go to products. I currently have a new foundation that I'm testing out. This is the Revlon Color Stay Light Cover Foundation. It's like something that I would just apply with my fingers all over my face, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm really happy that I found this one this year, and I will continue to use it until I think I'm out of it. So that is this foundation, and like I said, it's really good. Next foundation that I discovered that I really love is the Airbrush Flawless Foundation from Charlotte Tilbury. In the beginning, I was kind of scared to use this because it was a little bit too light for me, but now that it's the winter time and I've been using it and, trying it out more, I really enjoy it. I think it's a foundation that is really high coverage. It just gives me, I have the shade 4, by the way, 4 Warm. I think it's a little bit too light for me, but right now it's like the perfect skin tone for me in the winter. Again, I was really surprised by the coverage of this foundation. Like, it's really high coverage, and it gives you that perfect kind of like a blurred look to your skin. It doesn't give you like a whole kind of like a luminous, a little bit more matte. It's not super matte, but a little bit more like natural coverage. You can see that right there on my hand. It's really pretty, and I'm really happy that it's part of my collection, and I'm continuing to use this again and again, especially like I said right now, since I am more of a light skin tone. So next foundation is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Dewy Foundation. I really love this. I was surprised. I didn't think I was gonna like it because I really thought it was gonna be too oily for my skin tone. I thought it was gonna be like a whole mess, since the name suggests it's a dewy foundation, but it's actually not a dewy foundation. It's more of a natural finish. I have 2 shades. I have the shade Medium Neutral, which is creme beige, and then I have another shade which is a little bit lighter, but again, it does have that spatula. This one does have a different smell. It's not that paint smell, it's more perfumey than the other original, but I still like it and I enjoy it as much. It's more of my summer shade right now, but I do enjoy it. Like I said, it gives that coverage. It's like a light to medium buildable coverage. I love it. I love how it feels on my skin. It doesn't feel too cakey. It's not too light. It's just like a perfect in-between natural coverage. And like I said, it's not super dewy, as you saw there on the swatch. Last but not least for foundations, I have the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating, excuse me if I say it, the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation from ColourPop. I have this shade Light 45W in this one. It's actually currently my perfect shade for winter. I didn't think I was gonna love it. I thought it was gonna be too cakey, or not even cakey. I thought it was gonna be too oily. I thought it was gonna be like a sloppy mess on my face, but it's actually not. It dries down really nicely. It has a natural finish on the skin. It's not super oily. I have an oily T-zone combination, normal skin, so I thought it was going to be like a whole mess, but it's actually not. It's really, really pretty, and I really enjoy it, and it's really affordable. I think it's a really good drugstore foundation, and you can find it, I think, at Ulta in stores, and then obviously ColourPop and Ulta online. So those are the foundations of this year that really, really made it to my list, or my top, because I have a lot more, but obviously those are the ones that I made to my top. Concealers. The number one concealer that I really found to love, and it's an original concealer. It's an oldie but a goodie. It's the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, and again, I just fall in love with this over and over and over every time I use this. This is the concealer I go to for when I know I want it to look good, and no matter what I do with it, it just looks good. I have this shade Café con Leche, which is my perfect shade. I used to be like in the summertime, I probably am maroon glaze, or what is it called? I don't know, but it's a little bit deeper shade, but this has been working so far regardless of anything. Again, it's the shade 2.6. So I am a light to medium again. I just love it. I just rediscovered it. I keep using it. I sometimes forget to use my newer concealers, and I use this instead. So it's a really good one. It's a really good OG, but it's a good one. Next one that I found is the Hourglass Concealer, the Vanish Concealer. I have the shade Sepia. This one was a little bit tricky in the beginning for me to use. I kind of found it a little bit too, like, a little bit thicker than most concealers. It's a little bit, like, has an easier dry down. It dries down very quickly, so I think you have to work with it a little bit fast. I wouldn't like smudge it on each eye and then go. I just kind of do one eye at a time, in my opinion, because it does dry faster than most concealers, and it doesn't budge, it doesn't move, which is what I love about it. Let me just go ahead and put a little bit more so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Once you put it where you want it, it doesn't move, which is what I love about it. And when I set it down with powder, it's just perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and just, you can see it right there. I'm applying it, and once you apply it, you can barely move it. That's what I love about this one. It's really good. Like I said, I just have to be careful. I would just work one eye at a time. So that was a really good one that I also found. And two last ones. One's a drugstore, one's a higher end. This is the e.l.f. Camo Hydrating Concealer. It has a satin finish. It is really, really nice. I'm surprised how much I like this. I have the shade Light Peach. I can't find my perfect shade in this concealer, which kind of is a bummer. This one's a little bit peachy for me, has a little bit of a pink undertone. It's not horrible, but again, like I said, I wish that I could find like a more neutral shade. I did try to purchase a shade up, but it ended up being too yellow, so that was kind of disappointing. So here's the one in Light Peach. Again, it still works for me perfectly fine. I love the finish. I didn't get along with the original Camo concealer, but this one I can get along with, so that's good. And last but not least is the Stay Naked Foundation Correcting Concealer. I'm sorry, the Stay Naked Correcting Concealer from Urban Decay. I have the shade 40 Nude Yellow, and this is like my perfect shade for every day. I've been enjoying it. It's not super high coverage. It's by any means, it's not super high coverage, but it does like my everyday coverage that I love and enjoy. So it does give me that coverage that I need for an everyday. It's actually what I currently have under my eyes today. And again, it's just a really good concealer. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep moving on because I feel like this video is gonna be forever. If I don't. So anyways, powders. I have two powders, the same brand, just different colors. The first powder I'm going to go ahead and talk about real quick because I've already talked about it. Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish. I cannot go without this powder, honestly. I did find a dupe this year, which is a good. I found the number 7 powder. The number 7 Lift and Illuminate powder from number 7. You can find those at Target, I think, and some drugstores. I found it's a really good dupe for this powder. I have the number 1 Fair and the 2 Medium, which I use all over my face. 2 Medium I use all over my face. 1 Fair I use under my eyes mostly, so you can see the color difference. This one has like more of a peachy undertone. This is more natural, like obviously light shade. Excuse me. So yeah, I really enjoy this powder. I can't say enough good things about it. I will probably continue to repurchase it once I run out. Next powder that I discovered this year, which I fell in love with, is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfecting Powders. I have two. I have the shade Light and I have the shade Medium. I'm going to show you the back real quick just so you guys can see it. No joke, I use these a lot, especially the shade Light. You'll see these do have a dome. This one's gone. This is no longer a dome. So I'll go ahead and show you the shade Light. And this is the shade Medium. So you have both of these shades. This one I use mostly under my eyes. This I use a little bit all over my face. But you can see the difference, you guys. I love these. They just have this shimmer about them. It's like, I don't even know how to explain this powder. You can see the shimmer there. I don't know how to explain this. It's just so smooth. It feels like air. I don't know how to explain it, but it just makes my under eyes and my pore area look super pretty and super nice. So these are really good. They are higher end. They are more expensive, but I just think they're worth it. I think they're worth it. All right, moving on. This was kind of hard. I had to pick and choose between a couple of bronzers. I have 2 to 3 cream bronzers that I've been loving. The first one that I discovered in the beginning of the year, or I think it was like middle of the year. Obviously, I think I bought them around the same time. So this is the Fenty Beauty Cream Bronzer. I have the shade 02 Butter Biscuit. I just love this formulation. You can't like overdo it with this. It's so pretty. Like again, this is the shade 02 Butter Biscuit. I love how it looks on my skin. It's not super dewy. It's like more of a contoury kind of bronzy. It's perfect. Perfect for my skin tone. I love it, love it, love it. And I cannot say enough good things about it. It's really good. So there you go. Next one is the Charlotte Tilbury Contour one. I can't get enough of this. I'm going to have to purchase a new one. But unfortunately right now, at the Sephora website, it's sold out. I haven't checked online at her website. But at the Sephora website, it is sold out. I have the shade Fair Medium, which is my perfect shade. It does look a little crazy when you guys blend it out. Like, it looks kind of like super dark, like it's not maybe gonna work for you, but it does. It blends out really nicely. It has a really nice texture. It's like a good everyday contour. As it states, it is a contour wand, so I really enjoyed that one as well. This is the Fenty Beauty. This is the Charlotte Tilbury. It's a little bit deep, more cool tone, I would say, than the Fenty. Last but not least is the Soul Body. This is the Face and Body Bronzing Balm. I really enjoyed this, and I didn't think I was going to. I just recently reviewed it. I did a quick review when I received it online. But I love this so much. You can see mine has a pretty good dent in it. I love how it smells. It smells like a summer beach vacation, like kind of like coconut, but like beachy. I don't know how to explain it. Kind of like sunscreeny. It smells delicious. I love to use it with like one of these more dense brushes. I just kind of put my brush in there. I actually have it on my face today, so I really like this one. This was like the top products for bronzer of this year for me so far, so those are really, really good for me. Blush is next, and I just have 2 blushes to talk about real quick. Actually, I have 3. So the first blushes that I discovered were these Buxom blushes. These are the primer infused blushes from the Wanderlust blushes from Buxom. I have 3 shades. I have Havana, I have Seychelles, which is my favorite, and I have Mykonos, which is like a more peachy yellow orange one. But I just love this so much. This shade Seychelles is my go-to. If I don't know what else to do, I always just choose Seychelles. It's just so pretty. It's like a nude. It kind of looks like a shimmery blush here, but when you put it on your skin, it just looks so natural and so pretty, and I love it. It's like a super natural blush. Super pretty formulation. I really enjoy them so, so much. So after that, I discovered Natasha Denona. I have 2 palettes from Natasha Denona to talk about real quick. The first one is the Natasha Denona Bloom palette. You can't go wrong with these blushes. I know it looks crazy. You can obviously blend it out however you'd like. I just love this formulation from her. I cannot wait for her to come out with more of these. I'm excited for the next year to come. Hopefully she does more of those. The tan palette was not my favorite, to be honest. I just like the highlighter in that palette. But then is this one. This is the Diamond and Blush palette in the shade Daria. This was my favorite here. This blush, this cream blush, and then this powder blush are super, super pretty. But especially this cream blush here, I love the formulation. I like going in with my, more denser, like those like fanned out. Here, I'll go ahead and show you what brush I use. But it's more of a pinky kind of corally blush. I use these kinds of brushes with them. They're like stipple brushes. It's easier for me to pick up these cream products on the skin, and like I said, I just love this. I love this palette throughout. Just 10 out of 10 blushes recommend. Last but not least, the blushes that I fell in love in the summer with. Oh my god, you guys, I cannot say enough good things about these blushes. I've never tried this brand, and I finally bit the bullet and bought them. They are expensive. It's like 30 bucks a piece, but for me, I think it's worth it, and I really enjoy them. I have the Nude Sticks blushes. They're like cream blushes, the nudies all over face colors. I have In the Nude, and I have Tiger Lily Queen. In the Nude is more of a natural, more of like a mattifying color, and then the one in Tiger Lily Queen, which is more of a like a dewy color. So you can see the difference. I'll go ahead and show you here, swatched on my arm. This one has more of a sheen, this one doesn't, but I really like the colors. I think you'll see a trend with what kind of colors I like. I like nudes, and I like bright coral pinks. So those are ones that I found that I really, really love, and I recommend those. All right, moving along here to highlighters. I have a couple highlighters. The first ones that I've had, I think, since last year, if I'm not mistaken. I have these Natasha Denona Super Glows. I love these so much. They're like really natural, everyday colors. So here I have this one. This is the Super Glow 01 Fair. So it is more of my winter shade right now. It's more of a like a more white. And then I also have this one, which is my favorite out of the two. This is the all over glow face and body shimmer in 01 white, and I actually hit pan in this one. I love it so much. I hit pan in it. Here, I'll show you this one. This is like a little bit more natural than the first one, but it's still very pretty, and it's a little bit more nudie, like a little bit more champagne-y. So I really enjoy these two, and I love them so much. And like I said, this is like my favorite one out of the two. So yeah, these are really, really good finds of this year. And then I also found I found this one on sale actually at Target for like $3. This is the Pixie by Petra Glowy Gossamer Duo and Delicate Duo. I always look at the names because I don't want to get them wrong. So this one has 2 shades in it. This one's obviously too dark for me, and this one's like perfect, but I mixed the two. So let me just pull my sleeve down here. And these are the shimmers in this. It's so, so pretty. So I am really happy that I have these in my collection. And Paulina Beauty just started a live video, so I will be right back. Alright guys, so I watched her live. It was really nice to see her. She looks really happy. She was doing just a cleaning her face, talking. So as I was saying, the Pixie by Petra highlighter, I really enjoy it. The only problem, I have had this shade fall out a couple times, and I have to like push it back in and all that. But this one's a little bit too dark for me. I just kind of stick to this side, but I do like mixing them every so often, especially more in the summertime. I think this is going to be mostly what I'm going to be sticking to right now if I do use it, but very, very, very good favorite. And last but not least, my #1 highlight of this year has been the Milk Makeup Flex Highlighter. So this is what it looks like. It has a nice compact, nice mirror. Really, really shimmery. I'm going to go ahead and swatch it here for you guys. In the beginning, I didn't really like it. I thought it was too much, but then I ended up using it a lot. And I really love it. It's super, super pretty. I think it's perfect for my natural or my light to medium skin tone. And yeah, this is my #1 highlighter of this year. It replaced my love for the Amrezy, which actually I haven't reached for in a while. I haven't been reaching for the Amrezy, and I did use it a lot at one point, but hasn't gotten a lot of love. So let me just really quick compare them two so you guys can see them side by side. This is the Amrezy highlight from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And then this is the Flex highlighter. It's a little bit more peachy pink. This one's more like a more gold, like champagne color. So anyways, those have been my face favorites of 2020. And then really quickly before I finish, I want to talk about palettes. I guess I'm going to start with the most disappointing palettes of this year so far. And it really bums me out because obviously I just spend more money on palettes, I think, mostly than skincare or like face products. So the most disappointing palette for 2020 for me is a bummer to say, but it's the Coridguez from Sigma. This was honestly, I thought it was going to be beautiful, and I do enjoy the looks that I've come up with it, but for some reason these two shades right here and then this one, they tend to look a little bit patchy. I don't know if it's because the way I'm blending it or if I just got a dud palette, because I know a lot of people do love this palette. I just cannot make these shades work for me. They look a lot of like really, really patchy. They're harder to blend for me. The only shade that I love in this palette is here, this one, Belle of the Ball. Is super, super shimmery and pretty. But like I said, these shimmers down here, they don't really do much for me. They're kind of like meh. This one too, they kind of lackluster. This one in Sunsprite is also really pretty. But again, just like these in Dark Night, Campfire, they kind of are like more muted. And they don't really do much for me, which stinks because like I said, I was expecting more from this palette and it's just kind of like lackluster shimmers. These two are pretty, but every other shimmer, especially these and these, they're just kind of like, whatever. So this is more of a disappointing product for me this year, and it's like a really big bummer that because I was really expecting to love it, and I know a lot of people do love it. So that was one of the bummers. The next one that I was really disappointed by is the Sailor Moon and ColourPop palette. This is the Pretty Garden palette from ColourPop. They did a collab with Sailor Moon, and I know a lot of people went crazy over this palette. The only thing that I don't like about this palette, and I'm going to repeat it again, and I'm going to say it again, is the mattes with the shimmers. I don't know why they do that. I mean, there must be a reason behind it, maybe for blendability, etc. But I just don't like these shimmers, these mattes with the shimmers in them. They kind of, if you really don't tap off your brush enough, you get those shimmers all over your face, and it's just like a glitter bomb on your face, and I don't appreciate that. I don't like that at all. I don't really enjoy this shade here that I thought I was gonna love. It's more like of a pressed glitter, and it's not something that I really want to, you know, reach for more. This one here in Silver Crystal is really like crummy, like it kind of flakes. Like I said, they're pretty, don't get me wrong. It's similar to what I have on. I actually have a loose glitter on my eyes from Pat McGrath, but this is pretty. I just, like I said, don't really reach for this palette because of those mattes. If I do reach for this palette, I think I'd have to reach for a different palette just to even use these. Like, this one's super pretty and super shimmery, but again, it's just like very kind of like a more muted color. They're very pretty. I don't know. I just wish they did these in a true matte formulation, not those glitter mattes. I just don't like them. I don't appreciate them. And I just kind of keep that palette because of the, you know, the what it is. It's the Sailor Moon palette. I used to love Sailor Moon when I was younger. I am a 90s kid, so that's why I keep that palette in my collection, and I actually keep it in its box. The next palette that was kind of a disappointment for me is the Bare Necessities palette. And I know because at one point I really did say I love this palette, but I just keep making the same looks with this palette. A lot of these neutral tones, like these lighter tones, they don't really show up on my skin tone. They kind of just end up being a white shadow, which stinks. Like, I'm going to go ahead and swatch you. I'm going to swatch these top row here so you guys can see what I mean. It just doesn't do it for me. So the first shade is Idle Hour, the second shade's In the Buff, the third shade is Silk Teddy, which is my favorite, and then the fourth shade is the one in On Holiday, and they look like really muted. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I understand this is supposed to be a palette that's made for all skin tones, that's why they go from lightest to darkest. But again, I just seem to make the same looks over and over with this palette. This look that I have, I did with the Urban Decay Born to Run, which is actually one of my top palettes of this year, and just doesn't, I'd rather go for that than this to do something like that, because some of these, again, with those mattes, with the shimmers, I don't understand why they make that formulation. I wish someone would explain that to me. I mean, I kind of get it as far as blendability and things like that, but I don't really find it to be necessary. So those are a little bit more on the lower end for 2020 for me, which was kind of disappointing. And then the next palette, I'm going to talk about like my middle end palettes, the ones that I love the most, but they were kind of in the mid for me. The first one I'm going to go ahead and talk about is the Sugar Pill capsule collection, and I kind of neglected talking about it in the this was like something that I talked about more in the spring and summertime. I just love these colors. I love these shimmers. This blush is beautiful. I don't really use it as a blush. I kind of use it more as an eyeshadow, but you can, you know, use it either way. I just like the formulation of these shadows. This bright green for an inner corner is perfect. These like really lavender shades. This one has like a duochrome, like iridescent color to it. It's super pretty. You can kind of see that right there. Same thing with this pink. They're just super pretty, similar to that Pretty Guardian, or, you know, from that palette from ColourPop, but it's just the consistency of these are much better for me, and I really like this palette, and it's like more of my middle tone palette, so it's really pretty. That was also one that I enjoyed this year. Another one that kind of, was okay. It was okay. The Metropolis palette from Natasha Denona. I kind of went crazy over this one. I was kind of debating whether to get it, not to get it. I ended up purchasing it. I do enjoy it. You can see that I do use it. I enjoy this side of the palette more. This side of the palette more than this side. I don't really like these oranges. You can see I barely reach for these. I reach for this side more, obviously, with the greens, and the reason being that I also like the Natasha Denona Gold palette more. I think that this part of the palette with the Natasha Denona Gold go hand in hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you that, since it is also one of my middle palettes. This is the Natasha Denona Gold palette. They kind of are both in the mid-range for me. They go really nicely together. Like I said, this half of the palette with this is super pretty. I just don't enjoy this half of the palette. I wish that this row is okay. I just wish that this two middle rows were a little bit different. Again, I just see a lot of repeat shades, and it's a bummer because, you know, they're very pretty. Her formulation is very beautiful. I would say there's a little bit of inconsistency with some of her formulations, like that new Glam palette, which I'll talk about eventually, has a little bit more different inconsistencies than these. I do enjoy her cream to powder formula, or her cream to matte, like these are more like creamy formulations that have that creamy look to them. This one has it as well, that green, dark green. They have like a cream to powder formulation that I just enjoy, and they're very pretty. But like I said, I wish that this palette didn't have these two rows for some reason, and maybe had different colors. That's just me, personal preference, but these are my more middle tier palettes, as well as the next palette I'm going to go ahead and talk about real quick. The So Jaded palette from ColourPop and Kathleen Lights. I did purchase this year, and same thing, I love these two rows. They're more like the, you know, muted, like more grungy colors. I hate these pressed glitters. I wish they were not in here, but that's her palette, that's her choice. I understand. She wanted to do a little bit of everything here. I love the colors. I love these Super Shocks. I love these like more like grungy, these grungy greens, like this green here, this shade, and oh my god, this one, and this green is beautiful. I've just been enjoying a lot of these green colors. Like that story right there, that color story is beautiful. Again, these are like the most used palettes of this year for me, and like the more middle tier palettes that I really enjoyed them so far. I have nothing bad to say about those. So yeah, now let's talk about the palettes that were a little bit more like liked by me. So I guess my top favorite palettes, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about real quick. Obviously I cannot go without saying that the Viva palette from Touch the Donut is my favorite palette. I cannot say any bad things about this one. I love it so much. You can tell I use it. I love this liner. Just to do a full liner, to do anything with that one is really pretty. These gray tones are also very pretty. This one here in Tor is really, really pretty for like a shimmery, like more kind of like a grungy, not even grungy because that's not the right word, a more cool tone, like smoky look that's really pretty with the black. I love doing that. So that's a really good palette. Also, I want to say that this Sigma Enchanted really surprised me this year. I had never tried it before, and I finally got it. I got it actually on Amazon because I couldn't find it on the Sigma website, but then they did restock it when they came out with the Corderosa a little bit after. I just love these shades. These shades are so pretty. I was really surprised by this color story. I didn't think I was going to like it in the beginning, but I really am surprised by this color story. These shimmers are beautiful. The formulation for Sigma, I'm surprised by. Like I said, the Corderosa I don't have such a good luck with, but this palette, I just love. And I recently purchased a palette from Wet n Wild that kind of reminds me of this palette, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you that real quick. But it's new. I don't have anything to say about this one yet, but it kind of reminds me of the same color story. That's why I figured I'd love it. And yeah, again, this palette just really surprised me, and I'm really happy that it's part of my collection. And I'm excited to keep using it. Another palette that really surprised me that I didn't think I was going to love as much as I ended up loving is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde. This one came out, I think I want to say like February, March, something like that, around when it was the whole Mercury Retrograde thing going on. I love these colors. I love her shimmers. I like that she does a lot of different formula, like textures in her palettes. I really enjoy that part of her eyeshadow palettes. The most recent release I know I'm not going to ever purchase is because it was too crazy. So I'm just going to go ahead and swatch this right here so you guys can see. I love shimmers, as you guys can tell. Look at that blue, is beautiful. This one right here, I just like this. This is like more of a spring palette for me, but either way I know I can reach for this palette, and I know I'll love the looks that I come out with this palette. Similar to the Enchanted, kind of those like, you know, the same vibes. I'm gonna go ahead and just wipe my hand here real quick. I'm just using up a lot of wipes, huh? So I'm just gonna wipe my hand here to get a fresh start here. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and talk about my top palettes real quick. So the first palette, it's like a little bit lower. I'll go ahead and start with like the lowest to the top. So the Pumpkin Spice palette from Too Faced, I was actually surprised. I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I do. It barely looks used, but I do use it. I love how these shades look on my eyes. They blend out effortlessly. A lot of these shimmers are kind of like more chunky, which I don't mind actually, because they do have like that tackiness to them that, you know, they will stick on your lid. They're not gonna like superly bleed all over your face, like, you know, it's gonna stick. It's not gonna go all over your face. I would still use like a little bit of a glitter glue, but not too much. And I just like this color story compared to the past. I think that this is a really good spring palette as well. Like, even if it's meant for fall, like with the pumpkin spice theme and everything, I think it'll be a really good springtime palette, so I'm excited to use that. And since I ended up getting rid of my Peach Perfect palette, or my peach, I don't know, that peach palette that they came out with, I think they give me like similar vibes, so I'm really happy it's part of my collection. Another palette that really surprised me, and it's actually the first formulation that I tried from this brand, it's the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk palette. I was really surprised by this formulation. I have hooded eyelids, obviously, and a lot of the shades eventually transfer, or they like crease on me really badly, and this formulation for Charlotte Tilbury does not. It doesn't do that for me. It just looks really pretty on the skin. I know the packaging is kind of blinding. It's kind of inevitable, but these shades are so pretty, so natural. I love the looks that she does. When I look at her Instagram page, I just love her model looks, and I like to do very effortless looks. Sometimes I just pop like a regular crease on my lid and just a little bit of a shimmer. My favorite shade in this palette is the one here in Dream, which is like a more berry toned color. It's super pretty here. You can see that right there. And then also there's one over here that's like the Dream Trio. They're just very pretty and very shimmery, and I just really enjoy her formulation. Like I said, they're very effortlessly. I'm going to go ahead and swatch you guys some mattes so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and do some here from Date and from Dusk so you guys can see what I mean when I say that her formulation is just really effortlessly. They're so buttery and so smooth, and you guys, I know they're expensive, but they're just so pretty. You cannot go wrong with this palette, and if you ever get a chance to try one of her formulations like this, I would purchase this. It's very beautiful. All right. Now I'm getting to my top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, top 5 palettes. Really quickly, my hands are full of glitter. My number 5 palette, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep, is the Natasha Denona Glam palette. I was really surprised by this palette. This is the newest palette to my collection. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I do, but I do enjoy these colors. This cool tone story. I enjoy cool tones, and you'll see in a second what I mean. The first love that I had for cool tones was when I used the Sultry palette, which is a couple of palettes coming up, but I really enjoy this. I didn't think I was going to like it as much because I thought a lot of these look very similar, but once you put them on the eyes, they do look different. So for example, these two shades here with this one, they look pretty similar, but they're different. You can see that that one has like a more like a rosy undertone. That one has like a more, I want to say like a greeny kind of more muted undertone. That's obviously a silver. So there is a there's a different tone for each of the shimmers, and that's why I appreciate the fact that she did that. The only thing that I would say is a lot of these, like okay, for example, let me show you these bottom glitters. They look very similar right here. This one's more like a more warm color, so that's why I'm happy that they put them in there. But you guys can see they're very different. These two look very, very similar, I will say that. But other than that, I just really appreciate this palette, and I enjoy it, especially now that it's like, you know, the holidays. I've been wearing it a lot. I actually wore it on Christmas Day and everything like that, and I really enjoy these palettes. So that is my number 5. My number 4, my Urban Decay Born to Run. It's actually what I have in my eyes today. I cannot say enough good things about this palette. I just love it so much. I enjoy the color story. I enjoy all the different colors. I love these greens up top that like super aqua color. These purples are really pretty. I don't really reach for these two shades for some reason. I don't know. I don't reach for them. This shade's very unique. It has like a kind of like it's like a shimmery kind of, I don't know how to explain that color, but it's very, very pretty. And this one as well, this like gold, true gold, they're very, very beautiful colors. And I sometimes neglect it, but today I'm wearing this on my crease. I'm wearing these two shades all over my lid, and then this on my inner corner here. And then I did add a little bit of a topper. I added a Pat McGrath glitter topper, but other than that, I love this palette so much. So that's my number 4 and the top of my palettes for 2020. My number 3 palette of 2020 is obviously my Sultry palette. This is what made me fall in love with cool tones. This is the palette that I will forever cherish, and I love so much. Cherish, and I forever will love and continue to love, and I use it so much. I don't know if you can tell, but the shade here in Twig, it's hard to tell on camera. It has a really good dent in it. I use it a lot. I'm pretty sure I'll hit pan that anytime soon. Same thing with the shade here in Birch and Noir. I love this as a faux liner. Noir is just super, super black. It's super pretty as a shimmer, or I'm sorry, as a faux liner. It's just very beautiful. So yeah, I'm happy this is part of my collection, and I'm so happy that I have it. So that is my number 3. My number 2 in the palette that surprised me, that I didn't think I was going to like as much, but then I saw a lot of people reviewing it, and I was like, I have to get it because a lot of people are raving about it. And I was really surprised. This is the Naked Honey palette. This palette is just so pretty. I cannot, I think, say enough good things about this palette. It has your neutrals, has those warmer colors, it has a little bit of like, a little bit more like mustardy colors, very pretty. I love this shade in HBIC. It's my number 1 favorite color here. It is HBIC, yeah. This is my favorite color in the palette. This beautiful yellow as well. For summer, I can imagine doing some really pretty looks. This one too. They're just really pretty. They're very unique. And like I said, I didn't think I was going to be able to do a lot of everyday colors with this palette, but I ended up doing a lot of everyday looks, especially with these shades right here. I ended up doing a lot of everyday looks, and I was really happy with what I came out with. So here you can see those mattes. This one's a little bit lighter, but you can still see it. And yeah, again, I just was really happy with this palette, and I cannot say enough good things. And this is my number 2 for 2020. My number 1 for 2020, if you haven't guessed by now, which was like really surprising. Like I said, I thought Biba was going to be still my number 1, but the Natasha Denona bronze palette really surprised me this year, and I've been using it nonstop, and I cannot put this down. These shimmers are just so beautiful. These remind me of like, I don't know, they're like so foiled and so pretty. And even the shimmer, like the, sorry, the mattes, they have this like creamy matte that I love to use as a, like I said, a faux liner. It's just so pretty. It's like a plummy, I don't know how to explain that color. So pretty. This one here in Rhodium is also very pretty. It's like a plum, kind of shimmery, has a little bit of a blue undertone. I don't even know how to explain that color, but it just really surprised me, and I'm really happy that I have this in my collection, and I cannot wait to do any more looks. This shade right here is also very pretty. This is called High Degree. It's like a true red color. It's super pretty with these all over. The lid has more neutral tones as well. You can always do like a, you know, different. I just think you have a good choice of shimmers and a good choice of mattes in here. So her formulation just significantly changed me this year, and I'm excited to try more palettes from her, especially like I know she has those midi-sized palettes. I didn't really want to have a call for her newer palette, the monochromatic one, but these so far have been, these mini-sized palettes have been my favorites, and I'm excited to try more in the future. And yeah, that is all for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoy my top favorites of 2020, my top favorites of 2020. And yeah, I hope to see you guys next year. I hope you guys have a happy new year, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.